cat in the wall, eh? Okay, now you're talking my language.
You have a drunk Bailey's from a shoe?
Right, welcome into the View from C Deck, and it's that time of year, Casey. The Dyerwolf here, and I'm Just Matt. Time of the year where Ryan Day finally sets us all free and allows us to know who his starting quarterback is, even though we all know it most of the time beforehand. Julian Sayin finally named the starter for Ohio State. Captains also got named. We're going to hit on that. We'll talk about Sayin. We'll talk about the other position battles. We're going to talk a little bit about the scUM, Michigan punishments, and we're going to talk about the Big Ten's stupid ideas of how to expand the playoff on this episode of the View from C Deck. So like and subscribe always if you want to hear this kind of stuff. But we're going to start with Julian Sayin being named the starter over Lincoln Kienholz. You know, everybody was saying it was a real competition, although we've heard that before with guys who can't even start for Cal, apparently. And I always thought it'd be Sayin. It wasn't even that much that I saw from Sayin, but I'd seen enough from Kienholz to think that I don't want him being like the everyday starter. So what did you think when you heard, though, about, this 5-star stud that's accurate, has all kinds of arm talent, may not be the best leader that we know of yet, but, he can probably grow into – he's young still, a redshirt freshman. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was the obvious choice, and I was just happy he actually announced it today. It kind of historically, if you look back, I was looking, and it's almost always this press conference after the second scrimmage. The only time since he's been the coach was Devin Brown and McCord, and we found out that's not good news. So if that ever happens again, we should be worried, I think. But one of the best things I heard Dave say is just like, basically he wants to just let it rip, let him sling it. I'm like, oh my God, please. Yes. Like playoff mode all year is what I'm excited for.
Yeah. That's what I want to see too. And I think there's a greater chance we see it just because Texas is such a tough opponent that Day's not going to hold back the first game. I think Day, we'll talk about this more when we get to our season previews, but Day really coaches towards the playoff and has since he took over. But I don't think he'll start that way this year because this is going to be such a big game. And, it's the margin for error grows very slight, much slighter if you lose that first game, even though it's much bigger than it used to be. But yeah, the passing game, I have full confidence in with Sayin. I went to the spring game and saw him. He layers throws well, reminds me of CJ Stroud. He does get the ball out very quick. He is short. 6'1" is still short, even if it is accurate, and there's questions if it is. Will he be able to not have balls batted down, see through the line? I mean, he's mobile, so we hear, but I haven't seen that much of the mobility in anything, and it doesn't sound like he is in practice, really. So, but hopefully, as long as he's CJ Stroud mobile in the pocket, has good pocket awareness, he'll be fine. And Lord knows he's got the talent to distribute it too.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about the height. I thought I was a little bit, but the more I thought about it, it's like how many ridiculously good college quarterbacks have there been that have been 6'1" or shorter? Like it's really only the NFL that it really seems to make a bigger difference. And Jeremiah, before the battle, I know he recently said I feel comfortable with both of them, but like a month or two ago, I heard him say he loves the way the ball comes out of his hands. Like he was basically assuming Sayin was the quarterback, and ever since then, I'm like, you got to make number 4 happy, so it's got to be him.
Yeah, I was hearing last year from I know people that work with some of the players in financial ways, and they were saying that a lot of the defensive players especially thought Sayin would start last year, which is ridiculous, but as a true freshman. But over when they brought in Will Howard, another one of those QB battles. It's funny, these QB battles, remember everybody, everyone who tells you these QB battles are tight every year are trying to get you to come click on their website every day to check and see what's going on in that battle. That's all I'm going to say. Because this one wasn't tight. None of these have been tight besides the McCord Brown one. They haven't been. You can just follow the money for most part on that. We didn't bring Will and Howard in here to sit the bench. We didn't also keep Julian Sayin around to sit the bench. Those guys cost more money than Lincoln Kienholz and Devin Brown. That's nowadays. Remember, we're pro sport. We're going to start the guys we're paying.
Yep. I agree with you. I mean, I do think Keenholz is decent, and it's one of those things where he's not good enough to win a title, but I think if Sayin got hurt, we could still make the playoffs. That sort of thing.
One counterpoint, I kind of agree with you on this because I think he's better than Devin Brown, but a lot of people were saying that about Devin Brown many times, and now he lost out to a true freshman at Cal in the quarterback battle. So in case you didn't hear that, that happened today. They announced their true freshman, who was a highly recruited player, though, as their starter over a junior who a lot of people would have said last year, well, if we have to win a game with him, in the playoff, we probably can. He can probably, I never saw it with Devin Brown either. I haven't seen it so far with Keenholz. But what I am going to say, I said I trust the passing game. Sayin is probably not a threat in the run game. And you know how I feel about that. In a spread offense, a true spread offense, unless you have a dominant O-line, which we may have this year, the way everybody's talking. But I'm questionable about that, but it could happen. It is hard to have an effective, like an every down, especially short yardage, effective running game. So, and Day said today when he was asked about packages, maybe for Keenholz, that he said his answer was just sure. Could it happen? Sure. Do you think there will see some in like short yardage situations, red zone situations?
I think we might in the first game, actually. It depends on how the game's going. But like you said, this is the game to try stuff because I mean, you can say a few games are the biggest game of the year, but it's basically number one versus number two. They gave us our best game in the playoff. I think we're going to see a bunch of crazy stuff. The thing is, winning this game all but guarantees a playoff spot. Losing it doesn't completely kill your chances. Maybe and I'm a little worried if that happens, he gets a little bit tight, which would not be good. If we win it, though, just balls to the wall rest of the year.
Yeah, as I was about to say, exact same thing. If a win, you're pretty much in because there's just not a lot of teams that can beat you on the schedule, like legitimately. And you can probably go 9-3 if as long as Texas doesn't fall on their face, you go 9-3, you're probably still in. Not that that's the goal. The goal is to be a top seed. If you beat Texas, the pressure's on. Like the expectations are high. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Can't wait to see. I mean, a true passing quarterback again, which we haven't really had since Stroud. I mean, McCord is, but the talent just wasn't. It just wasn't there. I think the talent can be here, and with what's around him, and Claire and Jeremiah, obviously, and Claire and Tate and Ennis, being able to throw the ball to those guys can make a lot of guys look good. And as long as he's quick at getting it out, it's going to be really hard to stop us in our passing game. Now, moving on, we also named captains over the weekend here. Offensively, we got Brandon Ennis and Siereveld, which Siereveld was a lock the way they were talking about him all offseason, and also was named the starting left tackle today for sure, which, man, you could knock me over with a feather if you told me that 6 months ago. Or like coming off the season when he got benched during the playoff run. Don't forget. I mean, he played some in the playoff run, but was not starting and was not playing the majority of snaps. Then on the defensive side, we got Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles, who got the block O. No problems there with any of that. What do you think?
I got no problems. I mean, I was excited. Ennis got it. That tells me maybe he's going to be like taking the next step this year. And like Carnell was the third option last year, which he was probably the best third option in the country. Maybe Ennis will be that this year. But I'm a little confused why Jeremiah's not a captain, but maybe it's just because he's underclassman. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if anybody's going to be a captain as a young guy, it's him. We've had more than one sophomore captain. JT was.
JT was a very vocal leader, though. No, everybody says that Jeremiah is a pretty quiet guy.
Yeah.
So, and that like Ennis has been big time vocal leader in the weight room. Tate has started also to take over. So, in terms of even that room, he's 3 in the pecking order in terms of just actual leadership, I'd say.
And I guess he's not going to make 2 wide receivers a captain.
No, especially not when a guy like Sierveld's making the leap that he has and taking over the team offensively. Yeah, Sonny Styles getting the zero, but the block O. So second year in a row with a linebacker having it. I think it looks great on the linebackers. I'm a linebacker, so I'm very biased in saying that's the leader of the team. That's the heart and soul on defense. And Caleb Downs, obviously, also there, and the best player in America, I think. I think he's better than JJ for now. Just because his position, I think it's kind of funny when you think about how their positions are valued, especially in the NFL, safety versus wide receiver. I'm like, but man, a guy like Downs, who reminds me of Troy Polamalu, like a lot, because he can just do anything and just move him all over the field and just totally wreck your offense. JJ, I mean, you can take him away. Texas took him away last year. It'll be interesting to see the first game. If you can take away a receiver if you want to. Now it takes a lot and leaves you vulnerable in other places, but you can't take away a safety.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if they were in the same draft, who do you think would get drafted earlier? I think it'd be damn close.
Probably
down.
JJ. Because of the salary stuff. You have to. Because you're spending $40 million on a wide receiver one, you can get him for I guess like 15 or 20 to start out.
I see. Yeah, never mind. That's true. But I agree with you though. I think he seems more valuable to me to an NFL team just because of everywhere you can put him.
Yeah. Oh, complete game wreck. I mean, he asked Oregon. He wrecked them and didn't even have the stat line wasn't that great. He totally the reason Dylan Gabriel was pulling down the ball the whole game is because he was taking away the RPOs. He was just erasing them. Which, man, if you can do that in the modern college game, you're way ahead. You're playing with house money with everybody else on your team.
And he's only going to get better. I mean, I'm excited to see him this year.
Oh, bringing us another Thorpe award. We're due for one. Other position battles, though, to hit on. One I was always super interested in, the safety battle between Hartford and McLean. Sounds like they're both starters at the moment, the way Dave put it. I knew Dave was only going to name the QB starter. I knew he wouldn't name anybody else because he loves to keep everything close to the vest, not give away any information. It's smart, kind of annoying, especially for guys like us doing podcasts. But I still think it'll be McLean starting. But it sounds like they might just play all three and put Caleb at nickel.
Yeah, and that I noticed that too. That he said that. He also said I think he said they have 4 linebackers too. He was like, "Oh, it could be any one of 4 guys." And I'm thinking,
That'd be great.
Maybe, I guess. And then the safeties is I think he's that one. I actually believe him. I think all 3 of them could start. I mean, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, you know me. I'm not a huge Hartford fan. I haven't seen anything from them that makes me love him yet. But yeah, maybe this is the year it all clicks together. Everything we heard about from his freshman year hype, that it comes to fruition on the field. And then the O-line is going to be rotating, they said. 6 or 7 guys. I'm okay with that as long as you can build. I mean, you got to gel. But if we're not running as much zone, like we didn't do, like I think zone blocking, you have to gel. Like, I mean, I don't think that's a fact. You have to be able to gel. You have to know how to play off each other to create the holes in a zone blocking scheme. But if we're not doing as much zone, I don't think that matters quite so much. So, I mean, I'm okay with it too. Get the reps in case somebody gets hurt. You got more bodies to churn in there. It worked last year in the playoff. Why not?
Yeah, if the playoff run last year didn't happen, this would be concerning me. And be like, what the hell are we doing? But after seeing that and then seeing how bad we needed that depth last year and now all these guys can play multiple positions, I don't hate it. And by what we're hearing, like you mentioned earlier, it should be possibly a strength of the team, like the strength of the team outside of wide receiver, I'd say is the clear strength. But if all that's right, and we literally have 7 guys that can rotate, it could be a fun year.
Yeah. All right, but we'll get more into the depth of that. Need the bread, get it, dig down in deep when we get to our previews. So look out for those. Offensive, we'll do 3 parts like we have done the last 3 years. Offense, defense, then we break down the schedule. And I'm looking forward to doing that with you because this season could be very, very exciting. I will say this. I know people that have talked today in scenarios that aren't in front of the press. And he told them that he thinks this team could be better than last year. Now, it was a situation where I could see him just saying that just to blow smoke. But he didn't.
Who said you heard this from somebody at work and they heard?
No. somebody I know.
Oh,
I was at a prominent event with Day.
And heard Day say that
He asked Day how the team was going to be this year, and he said they could be better. He thinks they're better than last year. This was a while ago. This was like in the spring, but still.
Yeah, maybe it's because of Sayin.
Maybe. But we would be remiss, especially to all of our fans from scUM who made our podcast after the loss last year, our most viewed video by far, Washington Schadenfreude. We wouldn't talk about those cheating ass cheaters and the cheating scandal end punishment, if you will. It wasn't one, to be frank. The guys are gone that got the harshest punishments, Stallions and Harbaugh. Those are legit punishments if they were actually still coaches in college, which they're not. And neither, well, I think Stallions, it probably does hurt him, but no one was ever going to hire him. And Harbaugh doesn't want to coach in college and hasn't for years. It just did what he had to do to get out. So whatever there. The Sharon Moore suspensions make no sense. They let them pick the games and spread them out over 2 years, which is mind-numbing. What were your thoughts about that part? We'll get to the fine in a second.
Oh man, yeah, I kind of glanced over it because I was basically getting uncamped. Like we were camping this weekend, and I found out like while we were driving, so I just kind of glazed over it. I saw one game in the next season. I assumed that they would at least edit the freaking games that they were suspending him. Of course, you're going to pick your easiest games. What the hell is that? That was shocking to me, but they didn't do anything to him, so I don't know why I'm shocked.
Yeah. The big penalty that is added is money that's going to be a fine that is like withheld bowl revenue, or there's like a 10%. I don't know exactly how it works. Sounds like, though, it's not a fine they actually pay. It's just money they're not going to receive in the future for the most part, which is not a fine and is not a punishment. Like, you can plan so easily around that. And basically you're saying, okay, guys, we got caught, but who wants to pay, $20 to $30 million for that national championship? And there's every blue blood program in the nation. If I said $30 million, you win national championship this year, hands are up. Everybody's doing it. So it's not really punishment. The NCAA, feckless as always. They're useless now in terms of like monitoring these situations. They're not if we ever go with them and help out aid their investigation into us, I will be irate. That's all I'm going to say. I'll be irate. But normally we would put a full podcast towards this. I don't want to, because now I'm so done with like them and with scUM. The scUM fans that are rejoicing, they're the troll types, and they're people who honestly, we have enough of these in our lives now in every which way, politics, sports, etc., that just ignoring them is like the best thing to do. They want you to react. So scUM's now basically dead to me until we play. I'll hate them with all I can hate that week, but other than that, I don't care. What I will say though about the NCAA now is their reasoning for not the things people wanted to see the most that actually punish a program: bowl bans, postseason bans, and vacated wins. And first I'm going to say about vacated wins, I've heard too many people go, they don't matter, the game's played. Casey, can you tell me who has the most don't cheat. Who has the most vacated wins in NCAA history? What team?
Yeah, I mean, I would have no idea. I would have thought we were maybe top 5 just because of 2010. And I know like Penn State maybe would be up there. I have no idea though.
Yeah, it's neither of us. It's some SEC teams are up there, and LSU leads the pack with 37 vacated wins due to having one ineligible player for like his whole career. Vidal Alexander. I don't even know that name. And I'm guessing everybody here didn't know that either. I'm guessing most of you people, unless you probably know your own team's vacated wins, and that's it. So the games were played. There were winners and losers. Were there? Quick, tell me who the third win of Michigan's 2021 season was.
I don't know.
The games were played. We all saw them, right? Did we?
Uh,
Does it matter? No, it doesn't. And this is why vacated things win. Why vacated wins matter, because they're only brought up in totality. Total wins is brought up. Total national championships are brought up. Individual games that were played 50 years ago are never brought up because nobody actually cares. They're not going to go back and look and see if they actually won that game or not, to be honest. So it matters for the long term. It doesn't. You're right. We did see that, but it doesn't matter for us. And in 15, 20 years, it won't matter for anybody. We had our 2010 wins vacated. They're still vacated. Does anybody care about that besides Ohio State fans?
Not at all. And the thing that irritated me the most was they took the cop out and they were like, we know they cheated, but we don't want to punish the current players, which is whatever, however you feel about that. But how does vacating wins from 3 years ago affect the current players? How?
The reasoning for this part isn't the current players. This was that it's not part of their precedent that they will do that unless an ineligible player is involved. Except they did do this before during the Sandusky scandal. Now, they did end up getting sued, and as part of the settlement of that suit, they did reinstate Joe Pa's wins, but they did vacate a bunch of Joe Pa's wins, and it had nothing to do with an eligible player. It had to do with some old asshole diddling kids. So they will do it. They will do it. They've done it before. And it's also like, what is a better way to snuff out this cheating than to say, okay, those games you cheated in don't count? Like, and this is also what they said. They said there's not enough evidence to show that they won those games due to the cheating. And I'm like, well, there's not enough evidence to say they didn't win those games because of the cheating, is there? Like, is there? No. Maybe that's all. I mean, it's a game of momentum. All the cheating could have just steamrolled for all these things. And if you can't figure it out, what's the best way to do? Pretend the game never happened. Vacate it. Now, if you can prove that they did win because of the cheating, then it should be a forfeit.
Yeah, I didn't know they said that. So how can you prove that playing with an ineligible player is the reason you won? How can you prove that?
You're 100% right. You're easy. This is what drives me nuts about society now, is like these high-powered, highly paid people will put out this utter drivel that with the slightest bit of cross-examination just falls into pieces. And yet they just get away with it. Like, it just doesn't matter anymore. It really, like, this kind of stuff just makes me, I told you this before, a lot of what's going on in the world, I wonder how I should raise my 3-year-old. Do I say, do the right thing, be a good person all the time? And then I see the results of that and results of just being a complete a-hole. And I'm like, maybe being a complete a-hole is the way to go. I don't know.
Yeah.
And in the same vein, then we have to move on to the Big Ten, pondering the idea of a 2018 playoff. And the Big Ten in general, who we're supposed to be the good guys. We're supposed to be the ones fighting the SEC and keeping college football right. And now we have Tony Petitti, who, to his defense, I guess, he's a TV guy and always has been. So he's just trying to make television products. And all of his expansion ideas are basically trying to create more games that are good games, but to create more television products, even though these games are the antithesis of what made college football great, which is the regular season being the most important regular season there is in sports. So what do you think, I guess, when you first heard about these ridiculous ideas?
I kind of assumed it's a bit of nonsense. I mean, they just bring it up to, it seems cool to think about, and everybody looks at who would be in it. And I saw, by the way, scUM would have been like the 28th team, like the last seed this past year, 7-5, having a chance to win the national championship. That is gross. Yeah, that if that ever happens, that's why I was pushing for expansion, but I knew the negative of it was, when are they ever going to stop? I mean, they're just going to keep talking about making it bigger and better and this and that. I mean, I assume it's going to be 16 here in the next few years. And then when it's 16, are they ever going to be satisfied? I don't know.
No, I mean, No, they won't. But they're never going to be satisfied in terms of making more or better television content. Put it that way. So like Petiti, he's pushing. What he really wants is these 4 AQs, 4 automatic qualifiers in a 16-team playoff. That's what he wants, and this other stuff is just negotiation tactics, I think. But he wants those so he can make his little conference championship weekend playoff, where you have the conference championship game still 1 versus 2. Those 2 teams get the 2 automatic bids already. 2 of the 4, and then the other 2 automatic bids for the bid. This is what he wants for the Big Ten, because he's obviously not the commissioner of everybody. And then have the Big Ten have a 3 versus 6 and 4 versus 5 game to get the other 2 AQ spots. So he has 2 more high quality games of inventory to sell to Fox, Peak, to NBC, CBS, whomever. And no college football fan wants that, but we would probably watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably watch it too. The thing I hate about that the most, actually, is what advantage does being the 1 or the 2 seed in the Big Ten really have? So what incentive would you even have to win that game? Like, you could just rest players if you're guaranteed.
Even for the overall tournament.
I guess, but is that worth? I don't know. I guess it is worth it, but to me, it would take something away from that Big Ten championship.
Yeah, the big thing is, though, the 3 and 6 have no difference anymore. 3 seed versus, I mean, I guess you're doing it on home campuses, but then you're putting more stress on all these. What he's got told for years, you can't do that in these type of areas. Like, I don't know, just it's something nobody wants. It devalues the regular season even more than these playoffs do.
It is true, because the 3rd team in these big conferences are usually pretty damn good. And then the 6th team is like a middle of the road. Like, who knows? They could lose to freaking really like a MAC school on any given weekend.
I'd say, especially with the uneven scheduling within the conference for the regular season, it could be Minnesota this year. We've talked about them in our sleeper thing. Like, they don't have, I mean, they have 2 hard games, but like the Oregon and Ohio State. Other than that, though, they were 8-5 last year, won a bowl game against the SEC team, beat Illinois on the road. Like, they could go be the 6th seed. Does anybody think they're a national championship contender?
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, that part is really stupid. The 6th seed and it'd be, how many teams are there now? 18 in the Big Ten. I guess that's top third of the conference now. But yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. I think. I mean, he's going to be stubborn about it, though. It sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't see him caving on that, because. But although the SEC, they're going to say, well, our 6th team is probably a top 12 team.
Right. That's why they want the 5+11 model, where it's 5 automatic qualifiers for conference champions and 11 wild cards. That's probably working out. I don't know. You're right. Petiti's going to dig in. And right now they still have 12 teams, through whatever the end of this contract is, and it doesn't have to change. And it's just the SEC and Big Ten that vote. It's not anybody else. It doesn't really matter. Like, we're the one. So if we can't come to a compromise, it's just going to stay 12, which I'd be okay with. We just freaking started it. But it'll be, I don't know. Like the scUM thing. I mean, we didn't hit on this, I guess, but the real reason scUM didn't get punished is because they're a big brand. Petiti wrote that letter to help them out. They want them to be in the playoff. They want the big brands to be in the playoff. 28 teams also, hey, you're going to get all the big brands in the playoff. They're all going to be there. So then there's more eyeballs on more games. But, like, to what ends? And does it water it down so much? Like, NFL playoff games get ridiculous ratings, no matter who's in them. So you don't have to have the big brands. They prove that year in and year out. You don't have to have big brands because of the quality. But the quality will go down dramatically of these. If you go 28 teams, like, there's going to be just terrible teams for when you compare them to the top teams. Like, look at how, like, was the 25th team sniffing Ohio State last year when the 7th team couldn't?
Yeah. I mean, seriously. I mean, I don't know. it just seems too. I mean, we got 4 for 10 years. Give it some time, then you can collect data and figure out what's working, what's not working. Like, I don't know about 10 years, but at least like 4 or 6 to get a decent sample size, and then you can make adjustments. Maybe we don't even need to change it. Obviously, just the stupid things they did with the bias that they already changed is the main thing.
Mhm.
But I say keep it for at least 4 years and go from there. You don't want to make too quick snap judgments, I don't think.
Yeah. But again, like, and to be honest, I mean, we're eventually heading to the 2 super conferences because you just want all good games, and they're only going to play each other. Like, I don't care what they say about scheduling smaller teams. It will not happen because eventually what are you going to have to do to these TV? If you're always trying to get more good TV shows, you just got to start having the best versus best every week. That's all there is to it. The biggest fan bases facing each other every single week. You know, Miami, Ohio versus Ohio State, or who we have, Ohio University versus Ohio State. That's not a game that they want. Like, you know, any Ohio State game's good, but Ohio State versus OU or Ohio State versus Nebraska, which one do you want more?
Hey, that's a night game this year, man.
It is. It is. It's going to be a peacock. I have to go buy that for a month. It's also, you have to spend so much money now just to watch stuff. Here's for WWE. This is off topic, but WWE, do you know how much you would have to pay to be able to watch every single show this year?
I have no idea.
$1,200.
Oh my God. What?
If you want to watch all their content, all their weekly content and pay-per-views, you will have to spend $1,200 this year.
Oh my gosh.
That's insane.
That's ridiculous. So you want $100 a month?
Just to watch it on TV. Yeah.
That's
Where we're at. This is where we're heading. This is where it's going to head with college football too. Do not make any mistake about it.
Oh my God. That
Now
is
there's the Big Ten, the way it's all spread out.
sad, man.
Yeah. All right, though. Enough of that depressing stuff. This will be our last podcast before all of our season previews, though. So check those out. We'll do offense, defense, and break down the schedule we said earlier. Maybe do a whole college football as a whole gambling podcast. You know, we're into that kind of thing here. A couple gambling boys. Maybe we'll soft launch or hard launch a website next week too. I'm working on that. Don't have it together yet though, and it's not my forte, but we're gonna try to make it happen. So I got other stuff I want to put up there that I don't necessarily want to podcast all the time. But just check us out though, all of our stuff. Subscribe, hit the little alert button on there, the little bell, so that you get all of our stuff right into your phone as soon as we put it up. But for the Dyerwolf and the Haas somewhere, maybe we'll get him back on here one day. I'm Just Matt. This is the view from C-Deck, and we will see you guys next time.
Hey guys! Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.